Hello everybody, it's Andy here from AM Media Games. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to create different types of looped events using a special node called setTimerByEvent. So without further ado, let me jump into the video and I'll show you exactly how to set that up. So the first thing we're going to do is going to head over to our level blueprints. We're going to click here where you can see we have these three squares connected by lines, and then we're going to go to open level blueprint. Once we've opened our level blueprint, we can get rid of those two because we don't need them at this moment. Excuse me. And we're going to add a set timer by event. Oops, not by event. And here we have an input for a delegate there. So here we can create a custom event. So let's create a add custom event. I'm going to name this one to looped audio. Excuse me. Once we've got our custom event in with our looped audio, we've named this. So this isn't an event type. This is just something we've named. So we add a custom event and then we give it a custom name. You can change the name up here. Let's make a space there. So we've got our looped audio event, and we can see we have an output delegate there and an input delegate here. So we're going to connect that into there, and we're going to connect that into there. So now we have this event being called every time that a certain amount of time passes on this node. We can adjust the time here. So we've got our time in our float. We've got a single precision float here where we can set our time. This could be 1 second up to any number of seconds. And we can have further control of this by dragging out and get a random float in range. And here we could set a minimum amount of time to pass. So this could be like 3 seconds. It can be any number that you like. And the maximum time could be like 6 seconds. So the minimum time that this event can loop is 3 seconds. So it can loop within 3 and 6. So if you set a minimum value of 3, then it has to be at least a minimum of 3 seconds passing before this could loop again. If you want to have it so it's only a set value, you could set 3 seconds on here and leave it as that, or you can use a random floating range to give it a bit more of a bit more of a random trigger. So this could be good for things like lightning strikes, thunder strikes, or re-looping an event. It could be used for jump scares or background audio. So it's pretty much, well, this could also be used as well for damage per second. So if you're making a game where you've got like a sword that has fire, and you strike somebody with the sword and you set them on fire, then you could have a damage over time, and this could trigger that damage. You could set that value, so if you want it to damage every 2 seconds, then you could use this to accomplish that. So how do we stop this, and how does it work? So what we're going to do is we're going to get the event begin play node. We can do this many other ways. We could use a trigger box. We could use another blueprint to trigger this audio. We could use a event dispatcher. There's many ways that we can trigger this. It's just basically calling this event. So once we call this event, it will then start this loop process. Every 3 seconds, this event will play. So what we're going to do is we're going to play sound at location, just so we can get an audio reference of how it works. And we're going to use, let's say, knocking. Let's try one of these. That'll do. So currently location is 000, but it's playing globally because there's no attenuation or location to it. So this is just going to play whatever the player is. It's going to be kind of like a 2D sound. So every 3 seconds the door will knock, and to trigger this to start, we can then grab our looped event. Let's do a delay, and let's pop that there and then connect that here. So when we begin play, after 3 seconds, this will call this event here. And then because this is a loop timer, this will then trigger that loop and it will play every 3 seconds. So let's jump in and I'll show you. So that's 3 seconds. And we can hear there in the background that it's looping that audio. Now, problem, how do we stop the audio from looping? Okay, so that's where another special node comes in that needs to be connected to this one. And in order to stop this, we need to call the event. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear, so drag out of our return value, and we're going to type in clear and invalidate, and we can see here that we have clear and invalidate timer by handle. So this node is what will stop the loop process for this. So we can create a separate event. So let's say, I'll give you a use case scenario. Let's say the player picks up a note, or he walks up a staircase, and as you get to the top of the staircase, it triggers an audio event, like somebody banging aggressively on the front door of the house that you're in, and this will loop that noise until the player approaches the door to investigate the sound. And as the player approaches the door to investigate the sound, we need a way to stop that loop. So that could be the moment the jump scare happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to add custom event. I'm going to name this one loop stop, just to keep it simple. I'm going to connect that in there. So when you've got your, let's straighten them up with Q on the keyboard. So now we've got our looped event, and now we have a way of stopping it. We just need to trigger this. So let's say we can test it up here. So let's add a delay. We'll give this one 10 seconds. And then at the end of this one, we're going to drop in our loop stop. So we have our event begin play with a delay, with our looped audio sound. 10 seconds later, loop stop. Just like that. And then here, let's move that out of the way. This is our looped event, and this is the way we're going to stop that audio from playing. So let's compile, let's go into the game, and you'll see how it works. Let's press F8, and let's go to our, and let's debug this. Okay, so event begin play. Let me show you that one more time, just to show you how that's working. So we're going to go into the game. Let's press F8 to leave. Let's go to our, so we can see here, event begin play triggered the loop. 10-second timer is ticking down. It's going to call this event, which is going to play here, and that's going to clear and invalidate timer by handle. So this is going to stop this loop. We can re-trigger this, which is a good thing about it as well. We can, now that we've cleared that and invalidated it by the timer's handle, we can recall this. All we have to do is call this event. So for example, let's add in a trigger box. So we'll go into the world. We're going to place down a shape, a cube, and this cube is going to, I'm not sure what happened there. Let's try that again. It's a weird glitch. There we go. Oh yeah, stop the game. Silly bugger. Right, okay, so we're going to place a shape down in the level, and then we're going to shrink that down just so it gives us a pad somewhere that we can reference so we know where our trigger is. We're going to add in a trigger box, this one. And to get that, you just go to all classes or volumes, and then you should be able to find a trigger volume, or if you type in all classes and type in trigger, you can get trigger box, capsule, sphere, or volume. So now that we have our trigger box into the scene, and we have our reference point of where that is, you don't need to add this cube, that's just so we can see where it is while testing. Now that we have them set up, we're going to select our trigger, and we're going to go into our level blueprint. We're going to right click, and we're going to go to add event for trigger box, go to collision, and then we're going to get add on actor begin overlap. Now we don't need to do any cast 2s. If you don't add a cast 2, anything that goes over this will trigger it. So if you have enemy AI walking around the level and you want anything that overlaps the trigger box to trigger it off, then this will work. So you just don't do any cast 2s and it will work perfectly fine. So out of this, we're going to get our looped event. So we're going to go to our event graphs, which is our top right here on my blueprint. And we're going to go to looped audio and drag that onto there. And you can see here now that we have here a loop start, and this is our looped event, play sound. Then we have our loop clear, so we're going to get rid of that event, and then we have a way to trigger that event back on again. And then we're going to right click and then add event, collision, end overlap, and we can call loop stop, just to show how that would work. So this could be anything. This could be damage per second, this could be background noise, ambience, lightning strikes, lights flicking on and off. Anything that you want to attach to this as a custom event will work fine. So compile, and then let's go in. So we're going to test this. So we can hear the audio playing. And then we can go and check this code, see when it turns off. So the loop's now stopped. So if we then go into this, play from here. So we've got the loop starting. So the loop is playing, and then we're going to have, once the loop ends, and we can see the loop stopped. I pressed the wrong key, my bad. So the loop's stopped now, and then we can jump back in and go over this trigger box, and we can see the audio is back on. And when I step out of this box, the audio stops. So there's a couple of ways, or a few ways there to trigger audio events or background noise, and again, just it's open to your imagination. If anybody needs any help with this, just let me know in the comments. But this is a way, basically, like I said earlier, just to kind of trigger things off, having them loop. There are other ways to do this that are slightly longer to set up. I found that this is probably one of the easier ways. You could do, you could have, so let's disconnect this. Actually, no, not that one. Let's disconnect that. Move these and move those, and let's take a copy of that. That shouldn't trigger off. Yeah, that's fine. So there are other ways of doing this. We could do add custom event, so you could create a trigger this way, and we could do let's say loop audio 2. So this is our second audio loop, and then we could have a delay. So this is another way you could create a loop. But then you'd have to have some kind of a way of disengaging that audio. And let's have a look. So true into there, and we'll do, so we've got the delay, and let's do 3 seconds. Okay, so this is now in theory a looped event, because there we have our loop call, our branch. It's going to check our variable for our boolean yes or no, true or false, play sound, delay, and then loop audio. So how do we call this one? We do it the same way. So let's do a call on begin play. And with this one, we'd need a way to, so let's do this. So we'll go event begin play. So this is going to play when we start, and we need a way to play this. So let's do a variable can play loop. Let's put that in there. Let's set this to true off the bat, and let's set this to false. So this should play. That's it. So let me show this. So this is now a loop. So it was called on event begin play. We've set the condition of this boolean variable to true as default. As long as the branch knows that this is true, we're going to play the audio, and then after the 3 seconds delay, it's going to call itself, so the event again. So it's going to go back through this code. So to break this chain, we need to apply a false to this branch. So this needs to then be false. So then when this goes to play, it will go to play, hit the false branch instead, and then it will dissipate off. It'll be gone. So then that's the way we're going to be cancelling it. So this is a different way of creating looped audio events. So let's go over this. And we can see straight away what happened there was when this timer went to fire this event off, because I stepped into this trigger box here and we set the variable to false, as the signal went from our custom event into the branch, it read it as false. So you can see here, can play loop false. We can see the condition there has been set, which is perfect. So that's worked perfectly fine. And if we wanted to, let's say we wanted to kick that back up again, if we go to our end overlap, we would have to, let's set this to true, and then we're going to get a copy of this and set that here. So let's go and play. So we can hear that audio in the background. Now when we walk over this, we can hear that it's stopped. So if I press F8 and go to our level blueprint, so we can test this. So can play loop is now false. So the condition of this branch is now false. So nothing can happen. And we can see here on our end overlap, we have set to true and then call the event. So let's see what happens. Let's go back to play. So as soon as you walk over, there we have this event. So now we have a continuous loop. If we were to go back over this again and then come off, so let's see that working. Let's see if we can get that to work in real time with the window open, just to show you how that's working. I recommend always doing this as well, just so you can get used to seeing how code works. So here we have our looped event, here we have our beginner overlap, and here we have our end. So let's go back into the game. And we can see on the right side there what will happen when we walk over. There we go, and when we come off it. Okay, so I hope that helps. I hope people have learnt something from this video. Hit that thumbs up button if you like it. If you dislike it, at least give me a reason why. I can always improve. I am obviously trying to make tutorials to try and help people learn Unreal Engine, but if you've got an honest reason why you absolutely dislike the video, then leave me a message. Maybe I can fix it in the next video. But yeah, like, share and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Subscribing helps me to support you guys more, and it helps me prolong this channel into the future. You know, I don't earn any money at all on YouTube, so doing this and taking my time to help people learn is just from the goodness of my heart. So I appreciate all of you, all of the help that I've had, and the great community that's joined me over on Discord. So I'd love to see you over there for a chat. All the links are on my YouTube main page. So I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, and bye bye for now.